Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Jane's Fighters Anthology as we go over some of the last content that we haven't yet gone over in this game. I know it probably feels like we've gone over everything at this point, but there is one thing we haven't gone over, and it's so big, the entire second disc is devoted to it, and that is the reference section. Now, for those who aren't in the know, you'll notice that this game and a lot of others like it have the Janes attached to it. For those who don't know, Janes is a like a private defense researcher, I guess is maybe the best way to put it. They basically collect all the non-classified data they can about various military platforms and stuff, and they compile it, and then they sell that to various governments and stuff, or to private citizens. And Janes is one of the most well-known. In this game, along with others like it, USNF 97, ATF, Fleet Command, let's see, the 6A88I series, there was a couple World War II games, F-15, F-18, those were all created by a partnership between Electronic Arts and Janes. And as such, is kind of like a bit of an advertisement for Janes and to lend credibility to these as milsims, even though like this one isn't necessarily the most in-depth. They include Jane's reference materials, and that's what we'll be going over for the next, I don't know, 20, 30 episodes, as there's a lot here. Unfortunately, I did take a brief look through, and all of these details, the photo album, do not work. It will immediately crash the game. I don't know why, but there is some good stuff in there. So once, so I'll probably be trying to work on at least extracting the raw files from the libraries, if that's even possible. So maybe I could throw it in like a slideshow or something, because there's some really good stuff in there, despite the fact that obviously you gotta take some of this stuff you gotta take with a grain of salt, because this is all as of like 1999. So some of these platforms are out of service. Some of these are never entered service. So keep that in mind. But I will be reading through all these because it is some pretty good stuff. And you can see each 3D. What? I did not. Oh, that was not. I don't think that was in. I haven't really looked at this since when I owned the USNF 97 version of this game. Apparently, if you had a specific eyewear, yeah, it generates this as like a 3D. As you can see how like blurry it looks, that's because it's rendering two of them. So if we disable it, looks normal. Oh, that is interesting. Oh, I wonder. I'll have to experiment and see if I can actually make that render as 3D in YouTube videos. It's not the best, obviously. But man, I did not even know that was a thing, because, you know, obviously Wikipedia has pretty much supplanted, you know, these reference materials, because you can get most of the information now for free, as opposed to having to pay like $1,000 for a book that's going to be out of date in a year. And yeah, those Jane's books, like All the World's Fighting Planes, All the World's Fighting Armored Vehicles, they are very expensive. Even like I wanted to get some old books, like 1992 edition, and even then it was still like $200 for a book. But yeah, I'll be reading through maybe like 5 a day or so. Depends on the platform, obviously, because if we go down to, say, structures, obviously, there's not going to be a lot of detail for some of these. They are just a 3D view. So, like, structures might be its own episode. What's that? Castle! Haha. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I don't think there's any structure that's anything more than a 3D view, because most of it's all generic stuff, right? Oh, I take that back. Ooh, I do like the detail there, but because it's not, this is just like the base for a Hawk system, so it doesn't have, it just has the 3D view. Likewise, this is the base for the SA3 site, so this kind of gives some insight too, how some of those special sites worked, and why, like, you know, we would shoot at stuff and see explosions but not damage it. This is kind of cool. They got a low-res Harrier inside a tent, or like a Marine forward airbase. Alright. Anyway, so we'll just be doing the first 5 for today. I don't think there's going to be as much reading as the when I did the actual in-depth descriptions, but and there will be some crossover too. Like, obviously the A-7A and the A-7E are going to have a lot of the same information, so I apologize for that in advance. But I figure we can go through these and see some cool stuff. And you'll notice, even for the aircraft, not all of them have all of these active or included. Because obviously some of the stuff, like in the 90s, even the Soviet stuff, they were opening up, but it was still kind of hard to get information on them. And likewise, for like the F-22, that stuff would have been like even more classified than it is now back then. So without further ado, with further ado, one more feature I should mention is you do have a free flight button. So if the object supports it, you can take it in free flight. Obviously, we can't do that with helicopters, but we can do that. Oh, we can't even do that with all the bombers. So I think this is mainly just for the default player-controlled aircraft. Obviously, in this version of the game, we have access to pretty much every fixed-wing aircraft, or most of them, through like quick missions and stuff. Because you'll recall, we did do a mission with the Skyraider, but we can't take it in free flight. So I think that's kind of a holdover from some of the earlier versions of the game, because we've piloted all of these. Now, without further ado, let's read through the first 5 entries in the fighter category, starting with the A-7A Corsair II. Title: Vought A-7 Corsair II. Excuse me. Type: carrier-borne and land-based subsonic single-seat tactical fighter. Program: on the 11th of February 1964, the U.S. Navy named the former LTV Aerospace Corporation winner of a design competition for a single-seat light attack aircraft. The requirement was for a subsonic aircraft able to carry a greater load of non-nuclear weapons than the A-4E Skyhawk. To keep costs to a minimum and speed delivery, it was stipulated by the USN that the new aircraft should be based on an existing design. The LTV design study was based, therefore, on the F-8 Crusader. An initial contract to develop and build 3 aircraft under the designation A-7A was made on the 27th of September 1965. Variants: A-7A, initial attack version for the U.S. Navy, powered by a non-afterburning Pratt & Whitney TF30 P6 turbofan engine, rated at 50.5 kilonewtons or 11,350 pounds. Can't quite make that out. ST. I'm actually not familiar with that unit. Pound force is, I think, what Wikipedia was using. The first 4 were delivered to the U.S. Navy Air Test Center on the 13th through 15th of September 1966. Deliveries to user squadrons began on the 14th of October 1966. The A-7A went into combat for the first time with Squadron DA-147 in December of 1967 off the USS Ranger in the Gulf of Tonkin. Delivery of 199 A-7As to the U.S. Navy was completed in 1968, no longer in service. A-7B, developed version of the U.S. Navy with non-afterburning TF30P8 engine rated at 54.3 kilonewtons or 12,200 pounds force. First production aircraft flew on 6th of February 1968, and A-7Bs entered combat in Vietnam on the 4th of March 1969. Last of 196 A-7Bs were delivered to the U.S. Navy on the 7th of May 1969, no longer in service. A-7C. Designation applied in late 1971 to the first 67 A-7Es to eliminate confusion with subsequent Allison-powered A-7Es, no longer in service. The A-7C. 65 A-7Bs and A-7Cs converted into tandem two-seat trainers with operational capability under this designation. The first of them flew for the first time in 17th December 1976. Flight refueling capability, gun and weapon pylons retained, configuration similar to YA-7E, but powered by the non-afterburning 54.3 kilonewton Pratt & Whitney TF30P8 engine used in early model Corsair IIs. In service with the U.S. Navy 18+. Obviously, none of these are in service with the U.S. Navy, but this is all as of 1999, give or take a few years. A-7D, tactical fighter version for the United States Air Force with a continuous solution navigation and weapon delivery system, including the capability of all-weather radar bomb delivery. First two powered by TF30P8 engine, subsequent aircraft installed with non-afterburning Allison TF41-1 Spade turbofan engine. First flight of an A-7D was made on the 5th of April 1968, and first flight with the TF41 engine 26th of September 1968. First A-7D was accepted by the United States Air Force on 23rd of December 1968. First unit equipped with the A-7D was the 54th Tactical Fighter Wing at Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. The A-7D entered combat in Southeast Asia in October of 1972, with the 354th Tactical Fighter Wing deployed from Myrtle Beach Air Force Base, South Carolina. Delivery of A-7Ds to Air National Guard units in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, New Mexico, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, South Carolina, and South Dakota began in 1973. Production of 459 A-7Ds completed in December of 1976. In early 1976, an A-7D was test flown with a port wing manufactured by Vought Corporation almost entirely from composite materials. The basic material consists of reinforcing graphite and boron fibers supported in an epoxy resin matrix, no longer in service. A-7E, developed version for the U.S. Navy, equipped as a light attack close air support interdiction aircraft. All except the first 67 aircraft, since redesignated A-7C, powered by Allison TF41-A-2 Spade non-afterburning turbofan engine, which provides 66.8 kilonewtons thrust. First flight, 25th of November 1968. Deliveries began 14th of July 1969. The A-7E entered combat service in Southeast Asia with attack squadrons 146 and 147 in May of 1970, and equipped 26 Navy squadrons in 1980. Last of 596 A-7Es was delivered in March of 1981. In early 1977, production began of an A-7E FLIR version, formerly TRAM, Target Recognition and Attack Multi-Sensor System. This comprises a 327 kilogram or 720 pound pod under the starboard wing, the house equipment, which includes a Texas Instrument FLIR gimbal sensor, and a Marconi raster HUD cockpit display to provide improved night capabilities. Deliveries of new production FLIR-equipped A-7Es to the Navy began on the 15th of September 1978. By the beginning of 1981, orders covered the production of 85 FLIR pods and 144 FLIR aircraft provisions. Still in service with the Hellenic Air Force. A-7H, land-based version of A-7E, retaining the folding wings. First A-7H flew for the first time on the 6th of May 1975. Total of 60 aircraft delivered to the Hellenic Air Force, still in service, 40 plus. And again, I don't think Greece uses them anymore. I think they've been completely replaced by the F-16, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously I would have covered that in the actual Corsair showcase. Design features: cantilever high wing monoplane, wing section NACA 65A007, anhedral 5 degrees, incidence -1 degree, wing sweep back at quarter chord 35 degrees. Outer wing sections fold upward for carrier parking, and in the A-7H to allow best utilization of revetments at combat airfields. One piece and all moving tailplane swept back 45 degrees at quarter chord and set at dihedral angle of 5 degrees, 25 minutes. Flying controls. Plane seated inset aluminum ailerons outboard of wingfold are actuated by fully triplicated hydraulic system. Leading edge flaps, large single slotted trailing edge flaps, spoiler above each wing forward of flaps, tailplane is operated by triplicated hydraulic systems, and the rudder powered by 2 systems. Structure. All metal multi-spar structure with integrity stiffened aluminum alloy upper and lower skins. The fuselage is an all-metal semi-monocoque structure. Large door-type ventral speed brake under the center fuselage. Tail unit consists of a large vertical fin and rudder swept back at 44.28 degrees at quarter chord. Landing gear. Hydraulically retractable tricycle type with single wheel on each main unit and twin wheel nose unit. Main wheels retract forward into the fuselage, nose wheels aft. Main wheels and tires size 28 by 912. Nose wheels and tires size 22 by 5.5. Nose gear launch bar for carrier catapulting. Thing type arrestor hook under rear fuselage for carrier landings, emergency landings, or aborted takeoffs. Anti-skid brake system. Now you may be noticing some of these spellings, like how they have metric units used in text with customary units in parentheses. That's because Jane's is a British company, so of course they use all the British measurements and spellings first and foremost. Power plant. One Allison TF41A2 Rolls-Royce Spey non-afterburning turbofan engine rated at 66.7 kilonewtons or 15,000 pounds force. The A-7E has a pneumatic starter requiring ground air supply. A-7H, TA-7H, and A-7K engines have self-start capability through the medium of battery-powered electric motor that actuates a small gas turbine engine with jet fuel starter, which in turn starts the main engine through the gearbox. The engine has self-contained ignition and air start, automatic relight, and selective ignition. Integral fuel in tank, in wings, and additional fuselage tanks. Maximum internal fuel 5,678 liters or 1,500 US gallons or 1,249 imperial gallons because there's not enough gallons in the world. Maximum external fuel of 4,542 liters or 12,000 US gallons or 999 imperial gallons. Accommodation. Pilot McDonnell Douglas escape rocket-powered ejection system complete with U.S. Navy life support system on the A-7E and H. Escape system provides a fully inflated parachute 3 seconds after sequence ignition. Positive seat man separation and stabilization of the ejected seat and pilot, boron carbide cockpit armor. And if I pause a little bit reading this, it's just because this is a very dense text to be reading at 640 by 480 resolution. So you guys are lucky you get the upscaled version. Avionics and equipment. Navigation weapon delivery system is the heart of the A-7E/H light attack aircraft. It performs continuously the computations needed for greatly increased delivery accuracy and for maneuvering freedom during navigation to a target and the attack, weapon release, pull-up, and safe return phases of the mission. The system not only provides the pilot with a number of options during the navigation and weapon delivery, but also relieves him of much of his workload. The AN/ASN-91V navigation weapon delivery computer is the primary element of the system, in constant conversation with basic electronic sensors and computes and displays continuously present position using computed position and stored data to calculate navigation weapon delivery solutions, and monitors the reliability of data inputs and outputs. An AN/ASN-90V inertial measurement set is the basic 3-axis reference system for navigation and weapon delivery. And APN-190V Doppler measures ground speed and drift angle. And APQ-126V forward-looking radar provides pilot with 9 modes of operation: underground ranging, terrain following, terrain avoidance, ground mapping, shape beam, ground mapping again, pencil beam, a beacon cross scan, terrain avoidance, cross scan, ground mapping, pencil, TV, and strike integrated display system. An AN AVQ A-7V HUD receives and displays computed attack, navigation, and landing data from the tactical computer, aircraft performance data from flight sensors, and discrete signals from various aircraft systems. Armament: a wide range of stores to a total weight of more than 6,805 kilograms or 15,000 pounds can be carried on 6 underwing pylons and 2 fuselage weapon stations, the latter suitable for Sidewinder air-to-air missiles. 2 outboard pylons on each wing can accommodate a load of 1,587 kilograms or 3,500 pounds. Inboard pylon on each wing can carry 1,134 kilograms or 2,500 pounds. 2 fuselage weapon stations, one in each side, can each carry a load of 227 kilograms or 500 pounds. Weapons include air-to-air and air-to-ground ordnance, including anti-tank and anti-radar missiles, electro-optical, TV and laser-guided weapons, general-purpose bombs, bomblet dispensers, rockets, gun pods, and auxiliary fuel tanks. In addition, an M61A1-1 Vulcan 20mm cannon is mounted in the port side of the fuselage. This has 1,000 rounds of ammunition storage and selected firing rates of 4,000 or 6,000 rounds per minute. Strike camera in lower rear fuselage for damage assessment. Dimensions: external wingspan 11.8 meters, width wings folded 7.24 meters, wing chord at roof 4.72 meters, at tip 1.18 meters, wing aspect ratio 4, length overall 14.06 meters, height overall 4.9 meters. Weights and loadings: weight empty 8,668 kilograms, max takeoff weight 19,050 kilograms. Performance: max level speed at S/L 600 knots, or sorry, at S/L is probably sea level, so at sea level 600 knots at 1,525 meters, with 12 Mark 82 bombs, 562 knots. After dropping bombs, 595 knots. Takeoff run at max takeoff weight 830 meters. Ferry range: max internal fuel 1,981 nautical miles. Excuse me. Max internal and external fuel 2,485 nautical miles. And then length 14.06 meters, height 4.9 meters, wingspan 11.8 meters, max takeoff weight 19,050 kilograms, max level speed 600 knots, takeoff run 1,830 meters. Alright, that's a lot. Maybe I'll be doing 1 instead of 5, and then just in weeks where there's a really short one, I might upload 2 episodes. I think that might be a bit more reasonable. And of course, we have our beautiful 3D view here, where you can see all the details they were able to render into the game. And I think I'm actually going to call it here. Maybe it'll be a bit shorter episode than normal, but I guess that's fine too. Gives my voice a bit of a break. So next time we'll read through the A-7E, and we'll just go down the list. So, and just kind of demonstrate the detail that they put into these old games, because obviously the developers had all this information too, if it's available to the player. So, and I think it's really cool. You don't see this much anymore. Maybe in Command Modern Operations, I know they have a database, but theirs is kind of one they put together themselves. Obviously, probably with the assistance of companies like Jane's. Not to say their database isn't worthwhile. It's totally worthwhile. It's very useful. But still, just a database like this in a game with a whole disc devoted to it too, you just don't see that much anymore. So yeah, I think we'll continue when next time when we come back. So with that being said, thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for next time, and stay safe out there, and we'll see you then.